All right, time for another week of our confidence picks. Only 2 weeks of these to go. I'm Steve Dace. He's Aaron McIntyre. We are the team here at Bigger 10. Aaron, let's get an update on where things stand heading into now week 12.
Well, we'll begin last week. You beat me. I'll just say that from the out front. You got Wisconsin at the 6th spot, Ohio State at 5, missed Penn State over Michigan, got Michigan State, Iowa, and Rutgers to round out your picks. You went 5 out of 6. That's pretty good. I got Wisconsin over Northwestern, Michigan State over Maryland, Ohio State over Purdue, missed Minnesota over Iowa, missed Indiana over Rutgers. That was a bad miss. And then I got Penn State over Maryland at the 1, or over Michigan, I should say at the 1 spot. Again, you beat me 17 points to 16 points, if I did my homeschool math correctly there. So there's still an outside shot, I would say, over the last 2 weeks for me. I need to figure out, we won't do the final tally until the end of the season, but there's still an outside shot for me.
We both lost our emotional hedge against our favorite teams losing.
Yeah,
yeah we both lost that game.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to my picks for week 12. I'll start with Ohio State over Michigan State. I love Michigan State plus the points with the line, but this is just straight up, and I just don't see any way that the 130th dead last ranked pass defense in the country is going to get enough stops to win this game outright unless they're like +4 or something in turnovers, which could happen, but that would obviously be a very fluky result. My 6-point game is Michigan over Maryland. I expect a very workmanlike, get in, get the job done, 31-17, 34-17 kind of win here. Maryland will come up with a freak play or two with Talia's arm to generate some offense, but just down to down. Michigan's just too solid and too physical for the Terps. For 5 points, I'm going to go with Wisconsin over Nebraska. I could see this game also being very close and Nebraska being within the 9 or 10 point number, depending on where you look. But then I just think that, the Wisconsin defense just waits around until Adrian Martinez throws it to him, and he'll do that at least once. My 4-point game is Purdue over Northwestern. The only thing I don't know here is what's Purdue's mindset. They got a big game next week for the old brass spittoon, the big in-state rivalry against Indiana. They come off the game against Ohio State. So it's a bit of a sandwich spot for them. This is kind of the game that Pat Fitzgerald's made a career out of winning, even though he doesn't have the team for that this year. So I'm going to hedge a little bit. Obviously, Purdue's the superior team. But because of Northwestern's history, I'm going to hedge here a little bit and only put 4 points on this game. For 3 points, I'm going to go Iowa against Illinois. And this is a massive sandwich spot for the Hawkeyes. I mean, you come off your big rivalry against Minnesota, and then you've got the day after Thanksgiving game against Nebraska. Your scoreboard watching right now with what Wisconsin has going on. And Illinois is a lot like Iowa, actually.
Yep.
They're just not as good, but they have an identity. And we could not have said that about Illinois for several. Illinois football has not had an identity since you had the Juice Williams, Rashard Mendenhall zone read when they kind of revolutionized the Big Ten with that and went to the Rose Bowl almost 15 years ago. That's how long it's been since they've had an identity as a program. Bielema has established an identity. They won't make a bunch of mistakes. I think Iowa wins kind of a grinded out game, but I don't think that's a blowout at all, and wouldn't shock me if Illinois actually pulled the upset. Penn State and Rutgers, to me, that's the dream crusher game. Penn State's way better in terms of personnel than Rutgers, but Rutgers is playing for something. I don't know what Penn State is playing for, and so that has me scared a little bit. And then my 1-point game, you want to talk about dream crushers. I don't know what Minnesota's playing for right now, and it's a sandwich spot, and they've got Wisconsin for the old axe next week. Indiana's terrible. Can they get one of those two quarterbacks back? I mean, I just don't know where the mindset of either one of those two teams is, which is why, I don't like high-variance games. That's why it's my 1-pointer this week.
Well said. My 7-point is the same as you, Ohio State over Michigan State. It could be a back-and-forth type of affair, but I think in the end it's just Michigan State at some point, or maybe just a couple of points, is not going to be able to hold serve with Ohio State. My 6-point game is actually Penn State over Rutgers. I know why they are your 2-point game, and I know this is a pros versus Joes type of play, and I'm on the Joes side right now, basically picking paper, what these teams are on paper. But quite frankly, I need to make up some points against you, so it's my 6-point game. 5-point game, I've got Wisconsin over Nebraska. I also agree with your analysis. I will say Nebraska, I think, again, they're bound. You have to think they're bound to just sleepwalk into one of these wins. You know, at least at some point, the other team is going to Nebraska themselves. So I think there's an outside shot there that Nebraska could legitimately win that game. Number 4, I've got Michigan over Maryland at the 4 spot. I don't really see how Maryland's going to compete against Maryland. We saw what Maryland did, what Maryland has, I guess I should say, not been able to do against teams that can get a good rush. Michigan can do that. I don't know if you've watched any Michigan football, Steve, but they can do that.
They got the top 2 sack artists in Power 5.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Number 3, I've got Purdue over Northwestern. Northwestern, their offense is it goes through that whole kid, and then their defense is not that great. Purdue, I just don't think they're going to be able to get enough of a pass rush on Purdue to be able to make any meaningful difference. The 2 spot, I've got Minnesota over Indiana. Again, Indiana really failed me last week. I do not trust them as far as I can throw them. I think Minnesota has the just the get up for getting up's sake advantage there with PJ Fleck. So I've got them at the 2 spot. Same reason as you, Iowa over Illinois. I think the coach not being there, you know, we just had an example of this last season with Iowa where Jeff Brom was out against Purdue. It made no difference whatsoever. I don't really think that factors into this at all. I think Illinois is, I think they just want to bring down, I think this could be their signature win of the season for them. So I've got Iowa over Illinois at the 1 spot.
By the way, we are not going to have enough teams get to 6 wins to fill out all the bowl slots. And so the way that works is they then start going to teams based on their APR, their grades. Do you know who's number 1 in line if they get to 5 wins to take advantage of one of those bowl positions? Illinois.
Really?
Illinois. If they can win one of these. Now, if they win them both, then they're automatically bowl eligible. But if they can beat Iowa or Northwestern next week and get to 5 wins, they're still pretty likely to get to a bowl game because we won't have enough slots. And one of the games we might not have enough slots for is the quick lane in our own conference. If we send 2 or 3 teams to the New Year's Six, I should say, and right now we got 3 of the top 7 teams in the sport. So I mean, you got Michigan State, Michigan both finished 10-2, and Ohio State's in the playoffs. That moves everybody up a slot, right? And we could end up without a team in the quick lane, and Illinois could still go with 5 wins. And any bowl game at all for that program, given what Brett Bielema inherited, that's a massive win for them in year 1.
Yep.
All right, that'll do it for this week's Confidence Picks. We'll see if Aaron can make up some ground, and then we'll see you next week right here on Bigger Ten.